for a beginner in India and Pakistan, what's the right way to go from working for cheap to charging real money without being a fraud?
No, this idea of I'm going to start off charging very little and then start to charge more and more doesn't work.
Someone works for a big person, and what does the transition look like? Do they ever start their own business, or are they just working?
Yeah, a lot of the folks who work in our group, we want them to start agencies. Because what happens when a company's growing? When they get more and more clients, you eventually have to hire more people.
So you're not a proponent of cold outreach whatsoever, or like do cold out?
When do you need cold outreach? If you have a great reputation, why would you need to go sell yourself to somebody?
Welcome to the podcast, Dennis, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. It's good to see you here instead of in India.
Yeah. Good to see you too. You've gotten a lot fitter.
Thank you.
Yeah. So there's gonna be some questions from people that I know that wanted to ask you a question, and some from me. So yeah. Anyways, so this is for someone who's like a 20-year-old Indian freelancer who's living under a rock, who doesn't know you because he's living under a rock. How do you introduce yourself to them?
I'm just a math data analytics engineer. I built the analytics at Yahoo, a search engine which was big in India a long time ago.
Cool. So most people know you as the million jobs guy, especially in India and Pakistan, and also
Yeah.
a dollar a day guy. What
hmm
do people still misunderstand about your journey?
Everything that I do is based on first principles. And folks will say, because I've been able to work for companies like Nike or run ads for Starbucks, I've spent $1 billion on ads. If you're a 20-year-old guy living under a rock in India and you see people in America that are doing these kinds of things, you might think that's not possible for me because I don't have those connections and because I didn't spend 20 years in Silicon Valley or because, whatever the excuse is. And what people don't realize is that is you, me, our buddy Alex Berman, anyone who could make a video on the internet can reach anybody. I was just in the airport an hour and a half ago, and one of our guys needed a landing page, and I had an hour to connect. So I made multiple videos that he could use on his landing page while I was in the airport, busy, tired. I was walking through the terminal, and I could have made a bunch of excuses about how I didn't have time and about how I've been busy so much, but I just got it done. And I think
That's
anyone who has an internet connection and a cell phone can make videos. And any of those videos can drive sales if it's very clear the value you provide and exactly who you serve.
awesome. Yeah, even when you were traveling here, I knew you were like, hamming on your laptop whenever you get the time and recording videos in Agra.
Yeah.
Awesome. So this one is a little about your health. You went from a health scare, and you started building a much healthier life, oxygen baths and whatnot. What actually forced you to turn your lifestyle around?
Well, I had a doctor friend who said that if I don't change, I might not be on this planet very much longer. And other friends of mine said that they love me to death and all that, but I'm on the verge of, having a collapse or having a serious health problem. And my friend, Dr. Philip Ovadia, he wrote a book, Stay Off My Operating Table. And he talked in that book about entrepreneurs that he's met where they're successful, they're in their 40s, they're working really hard, they don't have time for their health. And one day, out of the blue, not a planned thing, they get a heart attack. And some of them never made it. And that was their last day. It wasn't a Zoom appointment. It wasn't, they didn't schedule it, but these things happen to you, right? And the ones who were able to survive the heart attack, he he's had conversations with them. So after having hundreds of these conversations, he wrote a book on this. And the number one thing is that these busy entrepreneurs think that they're invincible and think that it's never going to be them to have the heart attack or to have the health problem or to get in the car accident. And it was just very interesting where he and other friends of mine who were doctors said, you need to get your blood tested you need to get a full exam. You need to get all of these biomarkers measured. And I found that a lot of them were not very good. So
Yeah.
the biggest one was I was overweight. So of the 5 metabolic factors that determine your metabolic health, uh, biggest one was obesity. So I went from 227 pounds to 170 pounds. And that's made a huge
Right.
difference because you could see it in my blood work. You could see it in my face, as you said, my energy level. And surprisingly, Div, my business success has gotten better because when I'm healthier, I think better, I sleep better. Maybe I convert better because, if you're whatever, if you're not as
Mm.
attractive, you're less likely to convert, whatever it might be. But I've
Yeah,
seen a
and
huge difference. I haven't thought that health, imagine that investing in your health is actually a business decision.
true, you make better decisions. I know a few years ago, even Gary Vee was prominent. Hey, I can, work with very little sleep, and now that
Hmm.
he might have had a health scare, I don't know. He now says you gotta have like 8 hours of sleep.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's huge. That's a hack. When I get 8 hours of sleep, in an hour or two, I can get more done than in a whole week without exaggeration. So I had lunch today with Joe Cristara, who's one of the biggest guys in the world of HVAC. And we spent an hour and a half together. And in that hour and a half, because I was alert, I got more done than weeks and weeks of grinding at the laptop, the dentist of 3 years ago, right? I got way more done because I got a deal done. I got equity in the company. I got a partnership in place. And the amount of power that we're getting by leveraging his audience and connecting it with other companies I know that serve HVAC companies, for example, all it took was in that one meeting being alert and being able to see the details, being able to make that connection. And, you think we're like manual labor, like working harder would have never, would never come close to the amount of ROI I got from having that one meeting go successfully.
amen to that. Yeah. By the way, how much do you agree with Brian Johnson? Is it like too much, or like this
He
guy?
goes all the way, right? He
Yeah.
makes it a point where he has zero exceptions. So zero junk food, zero ice cream. His sleep numbers are 100% every night. So he's proving this point with longevity. I think, and even he has said that it's unnecessary, like for a normal human being to be that strict, but he wants to test the limit and be the
Yeah.
guy who ages less than anyone else on the planet. And why not? For him, it's like a competition. We all have different things that we want to excel at, but there's always a trade-off. All of us have to decide, right? At a certain point, you have diminishing returns. Like I ran 3 marathons last year. Could I have run them faster? Yes, but at what cost?
So coming to it, what does a good day to you look like? Sleep, food, work, movement. Like how do you manage? Because you travel a lot. I don't know, 100 flights a year at least. So
Yeah, well, every day is different, right? So
yeah.
like today, I had one main objective, and that was this business meeting for it to go successfully, to be able to, get an agreement in place where we had equity in the company, promotion between multiple companies that we have ownership in, and all the other things are secondary. So I would love to, I didn't have time to have breakfast this morning. In an ideal world, maybe I would have gotten that. I got a coffee instead, right? I didn't get a chance to work out. I didn't get a chance to read. I like to read an hour or two, right? But I put all those other things aside because today's priority was that one meeting. It had to go well. And for every day, there's going to be a particular priority, right? And my friend Naveen Jain, you may know him. He's an Indian. He's a billionaire.
Yep.
And people would ask him, how do you have this balanced lifestyle? Because he's got multiple companies that do billions of dollars and a family, and he's doing all these crazy things, right? Hanging out with Richard Branson and Elon Musk and these sorts of people. And he said that this idea of this balanced lifestyle is a myth because, one day your wife is sick and you have to go to the hospital, and then that's the priority for the day. And the business has to take a back seat. And another day you have an important business deal. And another day you have, so It's a matter. So over time, everything is in balance. So there is no perfect day, because every
Got it.
day, if you're on a mission, if you're performance driven, if you're an entrepreneur, this is not for employees. Employees, sure, you can have a perfect day, do the same thing every day, have this habit. But if you're an entrepreneur and you are on a mission, a conquest, a battle, then you have objectives that you need to hit. And every day is going to require a different battle, right? A different battle you need to win. And whatever you need to do to win that, sometimes it's a physical battle, sometimes it's a relationship battle, sometimes it's a finance battle. It's, what is the battle you need to win for that day? And and this myth of a perfect day where you're doing everything's going well every single day, that's just not how real life is, right? You need
Yeah.
to decide, what is the battle, what is the right now, today, what is the battle?
Awesome. That's a very good perspective. Thank you. So I think you've already answered, but if you want to add 2 cents, is like how getting healthier has changed the way you run your agency or make your business decisions.
So I think of health as, I used to think of health as costing time, because that's an hour away that I could have been on a laptop. I could have done an hour more of sleep. Well, if I got an hour less of sleep, I could, do an hour more of programming, an hour more of running ads, an hour more of something else. And that was an employee mindset, which doesn't work for an entrepreneur. So for me, it's not about how many hours, right? I'm not a manual worker where it's like, how many shovels can I make, right? It's how much productivity, how much impact can I unlock? And so it's really, that's around decisions. If I can make one or two key decisions every day at the moment when that decision matters, like today, I had that one meeting. So in that one meeting, I needed to be on my A game. The rest of the time, doesn't matter. I could be on social media, I could be goofing off, I could do whatever. But for that 1 hour, just like when the lion is hunting, right? The lion can sit around most of the day, but for that minute or two where they're hunting, they need to, that's when it all counts. And that really surprised me, the idea that not every minute's worth the same. Some minutes are worth more, right? In certain key situations. So if you know that certain moments in time are worth more, and sometimes you can't predict that, then having the energy level and alertness for when that moment comes is actually more important than being at 50% energy but working 20 hours in a day, right?
Got it.
So that's the realization on health. So I would rather have my battery be at 99% for a few hours of the day, when I know in those few hours something important is going to happen, than try to just like run my battery all the way down, but it was somehow at 3%. Like this whole idea, like, oh, I'm still at 3% and I'm still working.
Yeah.
That's garbage. When you're at 3%, you're doing terrible work.
Yeah. So it is like a marathon. Yeah. All right. So do you like plan your week ahead, or is it like, impromptu? Okay, this is what I'm gonna do in a day. Like, how do you manage
It's the big rocks philosophy. So in the course of a month, I figure out what are the key things that have to happen. For example, CES is starting tomorrow. That's the biggest trade show in the world. And for this whole week coming up, I have 4 or 5 key meetings. So I'm meeting some executives at Samsung, some executives at Bosch. I'm going to interview them. And my week is organized, this coming week is organized around 3 or 4 key interviews, where I'm going to be at the trade show interviewing these executives because I have a media pass, right? And the other stuff will just kind of fit in between those other components. The week after that, I'm going to be in Chicago and in Houston, and I'm meeting with some of our clients. And in each of those days, there's 1 or 2 key meetings. And the rest of the time, I can do email, I can do planning, I can, look at our AI tools, I can do finance, I can do support, I can do other sorts of things. But it goes back to the original thing on plan the most important items. And then everything else just sort of fits around that, right?
Right. So what's your rule of thumb, or if you have any, like how many important tasks in a day am I gonna do? Like nothing more than that.
Jeff Bezos says three. He
Three.
says he doesn't make more than three important decisions in a day. And
Awesome.
if that's good enough for Jeff Bezos and good enough for Elon Musk, I mean, think about if Jeff Bezos is making three decisions per day, what are the quality, how important, how big are those decisions that he's making versus what are the three decisions each day that, because a lot of us, we think we're just really busy, 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 busy. But are we really focusing when it counts? What, like, for example, I'd ask you, what are the three important things that you're doing today that you have to make a decision on? Ones that actually make a big, like in a year from now, you look back and say, yeah, those were three important things I had to do that day.
Yeah, there are three that actually. Yeah,
You can't do 10. I mean, seven things. There's no way you can do seven important things in one day. Usually I'm lucky to do one good thing per day.
awesome. So now coming to something different, like not around marketing or money, is there something that you're currently learning that has nothing to do with these things?
Oh
A
yeah, I'm learning
hobby.
the guitar.
Nice.
I'm learning chords.
Awesome.
I'm
So,
learning how the bass, how the
and
banjo, how the six-string guitar, chord theory. I play a lot of pool. I think that pool and guitar and other things stimulate math, stimulate physics, stimulate, your ability to associate cause and effect. I find
yeah.
it indirectly helps me. I find when I play a game of pool for an hour that it's not just a relaxing activity, but it helps me crystallize my thinking.
All right. So a one-liner. If your life's work was going to be remembered in just one sentence, what would you want it to be?
Creating a million jobs for young adults that are using AI tools.
All right. So now we're to the section called Agency and Freelance Ground Truth, because you have been in this industry for decades and decades, right? So you're written about starting as a low paid freelancer and slowly raising prices, right? So
Mhm.
for a beginner in India and Pakistan, what's the right way to go from working for cheap to charging real money without being a fraud?
No, this idea of I'm going to start off charging very little and then start to charge more and more doesn't work.
So how does
So
it work?
I charged Nike over $1 million for ads and analytics. Do you think serving Nike, do you think I got there by working on a bunch of $100 and $1,000 clients and then I worked my way up to having $1 million client? Do you think the skills in doing $1,000 work is the same skill as doing $1 million work?
No.
No. So think of it this way. I'm not sure how it's in India, but in America, when people have a medical problem, they're injured, they go to the emergency room, right? Do they shop around for the cheapest doctor?
No.
Do they even ask what the price is?
No.
No. So if you're good, if you have a reputation, people will pay any price, right? The price doesn't matter. The price is a secondary variable of reputation and value. So whenever I mention this, people will say, oh, well, easy for you to say because look at the reputation you have and all the projects you have and your experience and all that. You can charge whatever you want. And you can say, oh, yes, you should charge the most because you can do that. But if I'm some random Indian freelancer, I can't charge $10,000 for a project. Yeah. So maybe that's true. But if you're working with someone else who does have that reputation and they trust you to execute, because someone who's really good, who has a really good reputation, is not going to just take on any project because they don't want to hurt their reputation. They want to take on the right clients, and they're only going to assign people who are so good that they know that that person's going to deliver. And I love giving opportunities to people who are really competent, but maybe don't have a great reputation. They're unknown, but they have fantastic skill and work ethic. And all the stuff that we teach, all the way we do stuff is all public. It's on the internet, it's on YouTube, right? I have a marketing mechanic channel on YouTube. It just hit 1 million views this week, right?
Nice.
Teaching exactly how we do everything. So What matters is people keep asking this price question. The price question is 5 stages all the way down the road. The first thing is, do you even have a client that trusts you? If the client trusts you, the price is not the issue, right? If the issue, if people are asking questions like, oh, I have these clients that, they say $1,000 is too much, and I need to charge $200. The issue is not the price. The issue is upstream of that. You didn't establish the value. You didn't establish your reputation. If you do that, you never have a price issue.
Got it. So what are you saying is for someone who's just starting out should actually join hands or like join a company of someone who has the reputation
Yeah,
and work with them?
because that person has no
Awesome.
trouble getting clients. I have no trouble getting clients. I got 5 clients just this week. All of them came to me. These
Wow.
companies came to me. For example, HVAC. We're doing a lot of stuff in plumbing and HVAC. These companies come to us because we've done good work. We've built a good reputation. And when we do that, they refer their friends. So they say, hey, I have another friend who's in Houston who runs an HVAC company or whatever the industry is, right? Other people in the same industry. Can you help them? And I say, I'm happy to help. So we're not out there selling. We're not out there, trying to tell other people how good we are. It's all referrals. And so when, for example, 2 came to me today, 2 more clients that I can charge $3,500 a month for, right? Of course, we
Nice.
have to do good work, and of course, they have to be qualified. But now we have more clients that have just come in today, and we need to assign them to people who can do the work. And I'm not going to assign it to some random person. It needs to be someone who I know they know our material. They know the way that we build websites. They know the way that we optimize ads. They know the way that we prepare reports, the way that we talk to clients, the way that we use ChatGPT, right? Anyone who can do that, we'd be happy to hire them. So someone who's got a great reputation never has an issue with getting clients, right? It's all about delivery. Like the number one thing I care about is, can we deliver the result? Because if we hurt our reputation, everything I've spent 30 something years building a reputation, I just cannot. That's the most, like, I'll refund somebody before I ever get to the point where, they're like, oh, they did a bad job. Like we just can't have that.
Yeah.
So if you have no reputation, then your issue is creating, you need to you need to associate with someone who does have the reputation, because if you don't have reputation, then how are you going to attract a client? By saying you're the cheapest? All that does is hurt you. Because the clients who are good, if you come out and, if they know that PPC management for a dentist should be at least $2,000 a month, and you come in and say, I'll do it for $200, you might think, oh, well, I'm only going to charge $200. They'll that dentist will select me over the other guys that charge 2,000. That dentist is going to look at you. You think that works, but that's not how it works. The dentist is going to look at you and say, $200. This guy must be terrible. He must suck
Yeah.
if he has to charge $200. I'm not saying charge more for the sake of it. You can charge more if you have the reputation. If you don't have reputation and you try to charge whatever the price is, you're not going to get any deals.
So the next question, like, someone works for a big person, and what does the transition look like? Do they ever start their own business, or are they just
All the time.
working?
Yeah, a
Awesome.
lot of the folks who work in our group, we want them to start agencies. Because what happens when a company's growing? When they get more and more clients, you eventually have to hire more people. And then the person you trained up has to train up other people. And then, like, naturally, we've done so much in local. Local's been the main thing that local services. So this is plumbers and dentists and landscapers and roofers and electricians and real estate agents. So now we've gotten so many HVAC companies that we're spinning that off into an agency, and we put one of the young adults in charge of that agency. We have multiple
Awesome.
landscapers. Now we're about to start another agency serving just landscapers, and we need someone to put in charge of that. But we're not
Nice.
just going to put anyone off the street in charge of the agency. They have to demonstrate they can take care of the clients first. They know how to do the work. They can manage a team of people, and then we'll give them an agency.
Awesome.
If you give a random freelancer an agency and they've never managed people before, It's a
It just
disaster.
hurts your yeah, hurts your
Yeah, it's
reputation.
just no good. And the trouble is, you know, a freelancer who works for one client, who works solo all by themselves, great. You can be a freelancer and you work one client at a time. You work one person to one person, right? A freelancer works with one person, right? But if you manage an agency, you have to manage a team of people that you work with, and you have to
Yep,
manage multiple clients. And most freelancers have never learned how to work in a team. They say they know how to work in a team, but they don't. I know this
yep.
because I've done this 30 years, and everyone is, oh, I know how to work in a team. No, you don't.
All right. So the next question, if you want to skip it, you can skip it. Like if someone wants to start an agency in India, like they have no money, what route do
Doesn't
you
matter if you're
think?
in India.
Yeah,
We get all
yeah,
this stuff like, oh, if we're in
yeah,
India, if you're in Pakistan.
yeah.
None of the people that we work with care if you're in India. All we care about is, do you do good work or not, right?
Got it.
We have people from all over the place, right? From the Philippines, from Pakistan, from Colombia, from none of us care where you are from. Okay. If your English isn't perfect, I don't care. I care about whether you do good work and you show up on time. You're in another time zone? Great. Do whatever you need to do to be able to show up to the meeting. Sometimes it's 3 a.m. your time to show up to the meeting. That's what you have to do. You know, last week, Div, I was in Turkey exploring the most ancient sites in civilization. I think that's maybe like 8, 9 time zones.
Yeah,
Uh, it's almost like India time zone, you know, maybe like
yeah.
one or
Two
two
and a
time
half
zones ahead.
hours. Yeah, two and
Yeah.
a half
So,
hours.
but we still had meetings in America. So what did I do? I had to stay up late. So sometimes it was 2 a.m., sometimes it's 3 a.m. But what am I going to do? Tell these clients in America who are in California or
Hey,
in New York, tell them,
Can you move to my time zone? No.
no,
Yeah.
no. One of them, one of my favorite clients, he has 100 locations. He's the founder, right, of this company. He's got 100 locations, all these franchisees. And we meet every Thursday at 11 o'clock. And I do not want to miss that meeting. So if I have to wake up, you know, or stay up until 2 o'clock in the morning in Turkey, it's because I want to enjoy my vacation. But I also want to be there for this client. So that's what you have to do. And so if you're in India and you want to serve American clients who make more money, or, you know, who pay more money, then maybe you have to shift your working hours a little bit.
All right. So now a question is like a hypothetical question, right? So imagine your life resets. You're starting from scratch and you got like 90 days to get some money.
Mhm.
So what would be the exact steps you take? You're not Dennis Yu, right? You're just a normal person. Yeah. How would you do
I
that?
pick a niche, and I think local is where it's at. I really think contractors, so plumbers, HVAC, you know, electricians, pest control, those are all high ticket, meaning the customers that they have are worth a lot of money. And these contractors, they do not understand how SEO works. They don't
Yeah.
understand how to use ChatGPT. They don't understand local service ads and Google My Business and all the sort of software necessary to make all of this stuff happen. So I
Yeah.
would study that stuff like crazy, and I would start making videos about what
Got
I've
it.
learned. And I'd find someone who has an agency that's growing, that's doing really well, and I would do everything I could to be helpful.
Got it. And should people start for free for those agencies, or should they have some sort of like a monetary agreement as well? If someone is like
It's the
completely
same as
new.
the price issue with the client. I mean,
Yeah.
if it's with the right person, yes, it can be free. But
Okay.
usually the discussion about free is abusive and it's taking advantage of cheap labor, right?
Yeah.
So it's more about the opportunity. So when I got my first start 30 years ago, I worked for very little working at American Airlines, right? I could have made a lot of money at Goldman Sachs or McKinsey or doing web design or doing the agency stuff, but I chose the lowest paying job because it actually had the best opportunity. And that's how I learned to do a lot of the internet marketing back then, because I had the opportunity to build the website for American Airlines. And the
Nice.
airline wasn't paying very much money. I was working so hard. I think it worked out to like $9 an hour, right? And I'm spending millions of dollars. Other people are getting millions of dollars that I'm writing the checks for, right? Because I'm in control of that money to American Airlines, and I'm making $9 an hour because I'm working, 110 hours per week and making $30,000 a year, right? I'm working for free
Yeah.
basically. But the experience that I got and being in that was what broke me into Silicon Valley. That's how I made all the connections, because I was at American Airlines. I could do all these deals on behalf of American Airlines. And with American Airlines, I could fly. So I flew to Silicon Valley all the time. I flew to speak at conferences. It's an airline, so I could fly anytime,
Yeah.
anywhere, right? So it's fantastic. So I leveraged that, and it built my network. It gave me the best projects to work on. I did a lot of stuff that was never done in the airline industry or travel, or even just done in the internet. We did a lot of new things that were never done on the internet before, because I had a boss who was the CEO of American Airlines and trusted me. And so that's the situation that you want today. If you have no experience, find a mentor who has a good reputation, who can bring the clients, who can open up the interesting projects, and whatever you need to do, maybe you need to work for free for the first couple weeks to prove yourself. But then if you're delivering value, you're not going to work for free after a couple weeks. They're going to start paying you what you're worth. And if you can prove that you're doing a killer job, they'll start paying you more and more money. We have a lot of people that started with us for almost nothing, and they're making $8,000, $10,000 a month, but they earned it.
Awesome, awesome. So now coming to it, like you obviously offer a lot of services, but you now are a big proponent of picking a niche. What do you suggest for others? Like, do they go become a generalist, or should they pick a niche
Depends on
as
what you
well?
want to do. If you want to run an agency, you have to pick a niche. You have to. The general agency, what a lot of, there's different names for this. I think we call these legacy agencies that used to work for a long time. It worked if you had a really big holding company agency, like an Omnicom or whatnot. But if you're like a freelancer or whatever, you cannot claim to do everything. Oh, I do Google ads, and I build websites, and I do video editing, and I do, like, no.
Yeah.
You have to develop a reputation for something, because everything now, especially with AI, AI is eliminating all of the Upwork, Fiverr kind of stuff. You have to differentiate, right? And anyone who knows anything about marketing or technology knows it's all about differentiation, because differentiation creates reputation.
Right. So, do you think that's the thing that separates agencies that have long-term, retainers versus some agencies that just do, like, random projects just to survive, or is there something
If
else
you
to it
keep
as
your
well?
clients and they continue to pay you, it's because two things. A, you do good work, so they continue to pay you every month. And then B, you're good at developing and keeping relationships. So I have a friend, Matthew Janusek. He's been a client, I wonder, 12 years, 14 years, been paying every month, right? He's the CEO of Escape Fitness. Escape Fitness is one of the premier equipment manufacturer for fitness equipment, right? If you go into any high-end gym, you're going to see Escape Fitness. This guy founded the company 22, 23 years ago, something like that. He's been my client for many, many years, right? And if you add up the amount of money that he's paid us, it's a lot of money, right?
Got it.
And because of that, I will do whatever, you know? Like, his kids are probably going to come out here in a few days to Las Vegas, and I want to take them around to all the nice places, right? To eat at the nice places, to do the nice things, not because, like, it's worth a lot of money, but because we've built a great relationship. It doesn't feel like a client relationship. It feels like friends, like we have, family meals together, and I teach his kids math, right? It's not like an agency thing where everything's very formal. We're just hanging out on the beach together, having fun, not even talking about business, because we've known each other for such a long time, right? And that's the way it should be. And then he refers clients to us, and that's the way it should be. right? So if you do great work, you maintain those relationships. You never need to go out and sell. When I see agency people that are out there trying to get more clients, more clients, more clients, my calendar's full with appointments of trying to close clients. They think that they're like, oh yeah, I'm just like constantly, getting new clients. What they don't realize, they're accidentally sharing that they're no good at keeping clients, meaning they can't deliver, meaning they're not relationship oriented.
So you're not a proponent of cold outreach whatsoever, or like
When do you
like
need
do
cold
cold out.
outreach? If you have a great reputation, why
Yeah,
would you need to go sell yourself to somebody and
yeah,
convince them? For example, the hospital analogy, right? We think of ourselves as the emergency room. People come into the emergency room. We're not out there selling. We're not trying to convince people that they need a heart operation. Or the operations we do, they're expensive, right?
yep,
But we never need to convince anybody. Do you think in a hospital, in the emergency room, if they put more salespeople, that they would make more money in the hospital? If they had more salespeople instead of more competent doctors and nurses diagnosing what the problem is. So, Div, maybe you have a broken leg, maybe you have a heart attack, maybe you have a gunshot wound, maybe some kind of injury, right? Well, what's important is not how well they try to convince you or try to charge more. What's important is that they accurately diagnosed the medical issue that you have and then competently executed the treatment plan. Like did the surgery without killing you, like did the surgery properly.
yep.
So I don't hear this in digital marketing. You tell me, have you ever heard people emphasize how important it is to be competent? Versus
Not
how
many.
often they talk about selling and price and getting their first
Yeah,
client, and like all the questions you've asked are from people who think that it's all about selling and getting a client and how much do you charge in a very transactional way. Everything
yep,
I've been telling you is the opposite,
yeah,
which is if you're competent and you have a reputation, you don't have to do any of those things.
yeah. That
Yeah, you
there's
want to
this.
cold call and all that? Do that. You can send out
Yeah,
my buddy Alex, not just Alex Berman, but this other guy, Alex Makowski. I think he made a post on YouTube or whatever, YouTube videos saying he sent out like 13 million cold emails.
yeah,
He's so proud of that. Really? You're a spammer. That's what you are. Do you think I sent out? I guarantee you I make a lot more money than he does.
yeah.
How many emails do you think I send out?
None, or
None.
like yeah,
None. Zero cold emails. How many cold calls do you think I've made in my lifetime?
no idea. That's a lifetime. So
In
I,
my lifetime, how many cold calls?
a
We
handful.
drive more sales and the biggest clients in the world of marketing, right? We've had the biggest clients.
Yeah,
You name it, right? We've had some impressive ones.
yeah.
You think that'd be a lot of cold calling, right?
Might
How many
I
cold
don't know.
calls? None.
Handful? Yeah, no.
Zero.
Okay, got it.
Oh, but you get so much more business if you just started cold calling. We could spin up a whole team in India, people that do cold calling. Actually, that would injure our reputation by doing that. Because then whoever's
Yeah,
doing the cold calling, they're representing us. Like, really? You work on Dennis's team? I thought you guys were better than that.
yeah,
Because whoever's doing the talking, whoever's out doing the outreach or whatever, they better be, if they're not competent, because then let's say that, they do the cold outreach and they use our reputation. So it's easier to get meetings because we have a good reputation in digital marketing.
yeah,
And they get on the phone with the CEO of a major company. And that major company starts asking questions to reveal their knowledge. And that person doesn't have the knowledge. You
yeah.
think that helps us?
That just hurt you.
Yeah. And so
Nice,
everyone on the team has to be competent.
nice.
Why don't people focus more on competency instead of like sending out more emails and spamming more and trying to like sell the price for lower, or like, why don't you do a really good job and charge a lot?
That's amazing.
Yeah, any of these Indian freelancers that are just getting started, that are coming from nothing and whatever it is, the majority of the information out there is bad. It's from people who have never made it before, who have never managed millions of dollars of ad spend, who have never made millions of dollars doing agency work or SaaS software like we have. And we know a lot of people who have. And they don't do those things because those are desperate.
So being competent and putting out content just so people get to you and you don't go to them.
Yeah. Think about how different it is when someone knows who you are and they come to you versus cold
Yeah,
outreach. You know how
yeah,
many cold outreach messages I get on LinkedIn and Instagram and Twitter and all that? Like, they're terrible. Could
yeah,
you use an additional 3 clients? What if I could deliver you more clients every Get out of here. If you were any good, you wouldn't be doing cold outreach, would you? You'd have
Yeah.
plenty of clients.
Yeah.
The people who are really good, they don't lose their clients. So they're not out there trying to get more clients all the time.
Right.
Like, can you imagine
So
some guy saying like, "Oh yeah, I had sex with 5 women yesterday, and this year I've had sex with 50 women." That means you're not holding on to any of these women. I mean, do you not have a wife? Why do you keep having sex with all these women? That's what it sounds like to me.
yeah, just gonna get STD. So
Yeah. All right, good for you. I mean, I don't judge. If that's what you want to do, good for you. But that's not
yeah.
how we like to do things.
Wow, that changes a lot of things. I kind of forgot where I should go now. So there's next section where we talk about AI, future of work, and the million jobs that you talk about, right?
Hmm.
So you've said AI is not taking our job. People who know how to use AI are taking your job,
Hmm.
right? So
Yeah.
what are the 2 to 3 AI skills that you think everyone should learn this year?
You'd be surprised. I say it's being a podcast guest and being a podcast host, which are kind of inverse of the same thing. Because
Yeah.
the ability to have a conversation is really the key to unlocking the value of the AI, because the AI is getting so good you can talk to it just like a
Yeah.
coworker. And your ability to practice active listening, to be able to manage other coworkers, whether they're human or not, is actually more important. So us as humans have to become managers. We have to be team leaders. We have to be able to organize and communicate and be very clear and provide feedback on the work that our team members do. And so
Yeah.
those kinds of soft skills and managing and giving feedback and organizing and evaluating are a higher level skill than the technical skill of using Photoshop or going inside, Google ads and turning ads, budgets up and down. And the mechanical things can be done by the AI. I saw this interview on the plane today with the head of research for OpenAI, which is ChatGPT. And he said that this year, the the OpenAI, the ChatGPT, is pretty much able to do anything that you can do on a computer. It can do better. It already demonstrated years ago it can beat you in chess and beat you in, like, now it can beat you in all of those things, right? So you want to win in digital marketing with AI, be a manager. And meaning you manage human employees, you manage AI employees, right? If you do that, then who cares whether the work is done by the AI or not? Like, I don't care. I just want the work to be done competently.
Yeah.
So we have team members and we want all of them to be managers of AI, managers of other humans, of VAs. I mean, I don't care whoever we're managing as long as we get the work done and it's
Yeah.
competent.
Yeah. I still remember, like, at least it was last year, there's like these guys. There's George Blackman, who used to be a scriptwriter for Ali Abdal for his YouTube scripts, Sahil Bloom. These guys said they never used AI, but now they've started to incorporate AI in their workspace.
Yeah, they're all doing it, whether they admit it or not.
I mean, now they are admitting it. So, so the next question is, what kind of agency do you think is just gonna die with this AI boom? Like, they're not gonna
I think any
survive.
of the cold outreach, any of the mechanical things that are like PPC, building websites, any of the Fiverr kind of stuff, like, oh, I'll do a thumbnail for you, copywriting. The copywriters always want to argue, but they're done. Anything to do
Yeah.
with manipulating text, done.
Okay. So gig economy is the one that's getting hit.
Yeah, because it's low
And
skilled stuff that the AI can do a better job at.
and how do you think they would transform the winning ones? How do you think they are gonna transform to survive and thrive in this
Their
economy?
relationships, and they build, their managers. And when you build relationships, see, AI has no reputation.
Yeah.
Us as humans have the advantage of reputation. We can meet other people, right? There's word of mouth. We get reviews, right? People
Yeah.
refer. That's the
Right.
only advantage we have.
Talking about your mission of creating a million jobs in India, Pakistan, and worldwide, like,
Yeah.
what do you think is the biggest threat to that?
I think most of the folks that I've met in Pakistan are doing low-end $5 tasks, simple tasks on Fiverr and whatnot, and they don't realize that those tasks are being done better than AI. So, I mean, I think we'll create 1 million jobs, but probably 3/4 of those are going to be AI jobs, right? I think that
Got
everything I've seen from people who are winning and who are not afraid of AI is that they've made every one of their workers 5 times more productive. If each of the people on my team are 5 times more productive, we don't have to hire as many people. And that's why you see a lot of layoffs occurring right now in tech, right? Some of these guys, I don't want to name them, but they're saying 2026 is going to be the biggest year of layoffs in tech ever.
got it. So bigger than whatever has happened in the past years.
Yeah, it's not cyclical unemployment. These jobs will be gone forever.
Hmm.
Self-driving cars come on, a lot of these Uber drivers or whatever, those jobs are going to be gone forever. They're not coming back.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we'll create 1 million jobs, but it's good. It's just going to be very hard for the people in Pakistan and India if they don't develop communication skills. They think that developing tool skills, like hard skills, is what's important. It's relationship skills. That's the thing that I've spoken at all these conferences across India and Pakistan. Most people have never developed basic like interviewing skills, podcasting skills, like what you're doing here, Div. They don't do that.
Yeah.
That's actually the most important skill.
Awesome. Yeah, podcasts did get a boom in India in the, after COVID, but a
Mhm.
lot of the podcasts are basic trash. So, just trying to
People just asking a
beat
list
them.
of questions and not having a real relationship, right? Not
Yeah.
having a great discussion around a particular topic.
Yeah. And also random questions like, the viral worthy, not viral worthy, the ones that go viral are like random trash about ghosts and whatnot,
Yeah.
aliens. Anyway, so the next question, and it's that you also teach in universities and like training programs
Mhm.
worldwide. What do you think they're doing wrong when they're like preparing these students and to go out and be in the agency space?
Well, I don't think we can just broad brush all universities and colleges. I mean, there's a spectrum. There's the ones, like Dr. Karen Sutherland, University of Sunshine Coast, and her students are actively doing agency work. They're actually starting agencies as part of getting their master's degrees. And we think that's important,
Yeah.
right? It's not just to write the essay and do the exam. There's Dr. Karen Freeberg, University of Louisville, and she has her students start agencies and do work in PR and strategic communication for local companies, and they adopt local companies. We see students in the University of California system, and they get together in groups of 3 and 4, and they will adopt a restaurant or a veterinarian or whatnot, and they'll do the work. And those guys are great. Now, a lot of colleges, they're just, the teachers have been teaching marketing for 20 years. So every year there's the textbook and everyone reads the textbook. They write the essay, you do the exam. But, that's not the way it is, because everything we know now is hands-on.
Yeah.
Some of my friends, I had dinner last month with my buddy John Haynes, who ran the LDS Business College in Salt Lake City. And they went from what was kind of like a community college to a skills-based, directly into the workforce curriculum. So people are learning to actually become a nurse, learning to actually do social media as an agency, learning to actually do a real job skill, just like you want to be a truck driver, or you want to be an electrician, or you want to be whatever. And what you see, at least in America, I think it's partly true in India. I met with the provost of one of the largest universities in India last year, and she told me that it was a focus on not just a traditional degree, like
Yeah.
getting a diploma, what is that worth, right? But
Yeah.
actually having the connection with the private sector. So it's not like anything's wrong with the colleges and universities, but if we don't have a strong connection with the private sector, where they're getting real job work as they're learning,
Yeah.
marketing principles, learning to communicate, learning all the things that you learn in undergrad. Those are all good things to learn, to communicate, right? To learn about biology, learn about music, learn about the, English literature, whatever, right?
Yeah.
But also get real job experience. So I think that most colleges and universities see that that's where it needs to be. Otherwise, you have a bunch of folks saying, why am I spending 4 years, $100,000 to try to get some kind of degree? What is that going to do for me?
So that should also about the professors or the teachers, that like this was a problem when I was going to college, that the professors or the teachers, they didn't have actual experience, especially when it comes to
Yeah.
business.
How do you teach what you don't know?
Yeah. Something that they learned like, I don't know, decade or so ago. But that
So they bring us
has
in to
been,
teach, which is great
yeah, yeah.
because
But
we're
that
active
has been,
practitioners in the
yeah.
field. We're not just in some classroom, reading out of the textbook.
Now it's from someone that I know, I can't name them obviously. They're like, in their late teens, and they wanted to know if someone wants to work with you or, be in your network, what kind of proof of skill should they have?
Easy. Go to my Facebook group called Digital Marketing with Dennis Yu. There's 45,000 people in there. And I've made so many videos showing exactly how we do stuff, doing audits, building websites, using ChatGPT, doing proposals, doing analysis, onboarding clients. Like it's all there. But 99% of people, they're too lazy to go through that. They just want to be hired. Sir, need job. Please hire me. You haven't put in any work. Well, how are you different than all the other thousands of other people that want a job?
And how do you know they went through everything? Like,
It's
is
very
there like,
easy because the
yeah,
directions are clear. We say, you want a job? It's the pin. If you look at the featured posts in the group, it says, if you want a job, here's what you study and here's what you do. And if then they hit me up saying, oh, what do I do? Instantly disqualified because it shows that they don't even read the directions.
yeah.
And then they do it in poor English. Like, come on. At least use Grammarly or ChatGPT to fix your grammar, right?
In recent viral short that I've seen, Alex Hormozy is saying, like, if you want to sell in the US, you gotta remove the accent. Do you agree with that or not?
With certain audiences, they want to be more American. They want to buy American. And I think there's been a backlash recently in the last year, which is what Hormozy is referring to. But, in America, you have a wide range of people. Some people prefer working with Americans. Some people want to work with people just in their own hometown who come in locally that they can see face to face. Other people, they don't mind hiring people that are virtual. There's a whole range. I don't think there's any like one archetype, right? America's a melting pot. There's
Got it.
Indian people that want to hire other Indian people. Great.
Got it. So now we're gonna go to the meme review section, right? So gonna share some memes, and let me know if you want to add your 2 cents to them as well, right? So I had one of my teammates get some SEO memes.
Well, you can't even do SEO. That's the problem. SEO is the result.
Yeah,
What you do is you create content, you create, there you generate proof, you make customers happy, you generate signals, and the result is you rank.
yeah. And if you're doing it right, it doesn't take this long of a time, I guess.
It depends, right? Depends on SEO by definition is competition. Some stuff, for example, we can get people ranking in the maps within a week in, for like plumbers that are not in like New York City, but in a medium-sized city, we can do that within a week. But you
Yeah.
want to rank on some keyword that's super competitive, like Viagra or car insurance, that might take a while.
And for these smaller cities, do you think people have started like searching on ChatGPT instead of Google, or like it's still
Oh,
the
for
same?
sure. They're doing a lot of that.
And
Yeah.
is the strategy the same for both?
It is the same. I made a whole video on how this AI SEO is nonsense. Whatever you're doing to optimize for ChatGPT, you do the same things to optimize in Google. It's not different. And then
Awesome.
I know this because I'm a search engine engineer. And the other
Yeah.
people who are really good at SEO will say AI is just another search engine. Damon Burton, one of the top SEO people, he agrees. I had him on my podcast and he explained why. If you go to YouTube, you'll
Awesome.
see the whole podcast.
Cool. Got us got a lot of links for this one. All right. All right.
Well, these are these are the clients that you don't want,
Yeah.
because these are the ones that think they know better, right? So imagine, you're a doctor and these patients come in and they want to tell you how to do surgery, tell you, how to use the scalpel. Like, go see the witch doctor. If you
Oh,
want to do it, go surgery, do surgery on yourself. The know-it-all, or
yeah.
the,
Yeah.
SEO,
WebMD
the people who
guys.
hassle you. I guess the perfect SEO client. I mean, I don't know about this one where he's counting all the money. We have some, our best clients, and in general, the more money they pay you, the less they demand. And so therefore, the less they pay you, the needier they are, right?
Got it.
So you just want to have good clients, and often, you want to have them all in the same category. My buddy Marco Cipolla runs Coding Launch, and that agency serves just concrete coding companies. They have 120, all in the same industry. And so it's uniform. They run very similar campaigns. They have a streamlined structure. So they don't have different kinds of clients. So if you have an SEO agency or digital agency and you're serving people all in different verticals, then you're going to have this kind of issue here. But if you niche down, you serve just one vertical, they're all qualified in a certain way, you deliver one service to that one industry, you're not going to have this issue. At one package that's at one price. You don't custom price every single project. That's how you get in trouble.
Got it.
The stuff here you're showing here in the memes, that's when people get in trouble by trying to do, if every client is different in a different industry and a different package and whatever, every client is a different agency. You're running, if you have 10 clients, you got 10 agencies.
Yeah.
I haven't
Okay.
had any dinner yet, so we'll do this for a couple more minutes and then I'm gonna get some dinner.
Cool. Do you want to
Yeah.
continue it
Yeah,
after that
people are
or?
afraid. We'll do a couple more of these, but yeah, I'm not afraid of Google. We've never gotten hammered or hurt by Google because we do things the right way. We're
Yeah.
not doing anything black hat. So this whole thing of being afraid of Google, we love it when Google puts out updates, because what it does is it hurts all the spammers.
Got it.
Oh boy, alt text, meta, all that kind of stuff. That doesn't matter. That's all technical SEO trickery. Some of it kind of works, doesn't work. It ignores the fact that you need a real signal. And
Got
Google
it.
revealed that in the whole DOJ lawsuit, where they revealed that the actual Chrome clickstream behavioral data, actual conversion data, matters way more than anything that some SEO person is going to do on the website.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I see very little difference between a developer and someone who competently claims they do SEO. Because if you say that you do SEO, which is a misnomer, then you have to know how websites are built. You have to be basically a web developer. And
Yeah.
these people who claim to be SEO experts, they're just talking nonsense. Is your child doing SEO? Oh boy, I wouldn't even get started on this one. I mean, I'm a search engine engineer, right? I don't even think it's possible to do SEO. And I'm more
Yeah.
credible than these other people because I'm a search engine engineer.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Yeah, Office Space, one of my favorites.
Yeah.
The Boss. Yeah, that guy's played the boss in a lot of different movies. He's awesome. He's now cast as the boss. That's all he can do now.
Yeah. I do get email from people, hey, we can rank your agency on the first page of Google. And that's
For
the
what
biggest
keyword?
turn off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Well,
the biggest turn off.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't think you have a problem with
SEO
that.
is actually really easy. Super easy.
You
Yeah.
did
None
you
of these
did
guys
release a book.
understand real business.
Yeah. You did release a book on TikTok, right? TikTok ads or
Yeah.
content. Yeah.
But it's the same thing as the stuff we teach on SEO and PPC and all that, which is a real signal.
Nice.
Yeah, it's not technical. People keep thinking it's some technical mystery. This is a common misconception. And the SEO gurus out there are the ones that are actually pushing that nonsense, because they want to make it seem like they have some special secret. There's no secret to SEO. There's no secret to weight loss.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when they don't deliver performance. They have to dance. Oh, another Google update. Oh, it takes more time. Oh, it depends. Yeah.
Mm.
But you visited my site once, so I will find you. Yeah, that's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, retargeting is a good thing, but you can take it too far.
Yeah.
And the client said, I want to be ranked by tomorrow. Yeah, unrealistic nightmare client expectations. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
for what? We had I did an audit this morning. We posted it within minutes. It ranked on that client's name. So
Nice.
sometimes you can do it in minutes. Yeah, AI buzzwords. Yeah, so funny. Salt Bay. That's a good
Yeah.
analogy. He got in trouble for. Yeah, I can see the analogy with SEO people in Salt Bay.
Yeah.
My $100 SEO package. Yeah, well, go to Fiverr and see what happens. That's what we tell these clients. Like, oh, we can do this on Fiverr for $100. You go do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Breaking Bad. That's hilarious.
PPC is better than SEO.
They're two sides of the same coin. These are idiots.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. If you do it right, the update shouldn't
If you do it
hurt
right,
you at all.
you're never harmed by updates on Google. In fact, it can only help you. Yeah, they don't read the search quality rater guidelines. Very straightforward. Things like EEAT. Think it's all about keywords. Yeah, it's not a technical thing. They keep thinking it's a tool issue. These SEO tools, SEMrush, Ahrefs, whatever, they're just analytics tools. They're not doing anything. I always ask these SEO people, they say you say you do SEO. What do you do actually? Tell me which, oh, it's a secret. Okay, you don't do anything.
Yeah.
You just run reports on these tools.
Yeah. I still remember I was working in a company and they always used to look at the Alexa ranking of their website. I don't know for what
That's
reason.
great. That's
Every
vanity.
day. Yeah.
But what are you actually doing? How are
Yeah.
you making more money? You got to make the client more money. Yeah, it's lots of things. Rank page one on what? Does it drive leads? I'd ask anytime I see something like this, I'd say, okay, your SEO efforts, can you trace that to QuickBooks and how much revenue was generated from what you did
Yeah.
without counting brand terms? You can't use brand terms.
Yeah.
Answer is always they can't do it. Algorithm. That's hilarious. That's a pug. Wow. I haven't
Yeah.
seen that one before.
Yeah. Right.
What does that
Content for
say? Write
users.
content for users. What's the other one?
Content for search engines. It's like you have to pick one.
You always write for the users.
Yeah.
You always write because it's the signal. It's the user signal. But if you create content and you have no users, no one ever sees it. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I got to run, Dib, but this is great. It's
Sure.
good
Sure.
spending time
Sure,
with
man.
you, my friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Thanks.
1:37 a.m. here, and I haven't had dinner yet. I just literally ran here
Um,
straight from the airport. Hadn't had a chance to eat yet, but I wanted to,
yeah. I'm
spend
very
some time
sorry.
with you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. There's just a couple more, and then we can continue at next time whenever you're free. But yeah.
yeah, yeah,
All right.
yeah. But I don't think it's a good idea to force the memes. I know you created these memes.
Yeah. I've
Yeah,
not
this
created
is
it.
my
Just
polite way of saying that we should probably
yeah.
end
Yeah.
this.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
but I appreciate you doing
I'm just
this.
gonna
Yeah,
stop it. Thanks for your time. It was really nice seeing you. Keep have your dinner. All right. Have a
it's
good
good
one.
seeing you, Div. Appreciate you, and then let
You
me know
too,
on
man.
YouTube. Love to see this on YouTube and repurpose to an article.
Awesome. All right. All right. Bye.
Catch you later, my friend.
You too.